Time now to continue our look at games released by Mastertronic for other computers other than the Commodore 64, and the next one we're going to look at is another Amstrad game from 1987 called Fly Spy. So the front cover of this game is the second style Mastertronic packaging, as you can see, and we've got the logo Fly Spy, and we've got our spy flying around in his little helicopter, which has a mechanical arm with a little sort of bomb on a timer there on the dynamite, various other things going on in the background there, and the spine's got the Fly Spy logo on too, and on the back we've got the blurb, which is very extensive and I'm not going to bother reading it all, but basically there's an evil guy and you've got to take the role of the hero and put an end to his wicked ways. And the most notable thing about this blurb on the back would be that the game is the entire fault of Richard Applin. Richard Applin, previously to me best known for doing the loader games, the Invader Load and Load and Play games for the Commodore 64 Mastertronic games. And inside, lots of screenshots, and you can see once again, much like Rad Zone, it looks to be a colourful flick screen affair. You can see the little helicopter moving around on these various screenshots. And inside, lots and lots and lots of information which I can't be bothered to read. Basically the usual stuff. Scenario. Way too much backstory for a game like this. A few tips there. Look for levers, shoot everything in sight. And so on and on and on it goes. Controls in there and the loading instructions. Here you can see the loading screen. Nothing much to say about it. It spells out Fly Spy. We've got a copyright and a Mastertronic logo in the top right, and the author's name there, Richard Applin, in the bottom left. And that's pretty much it. So here's the title screen of the game with some rather grating music, bit of a mimicking of the Manic Miner title screen in a way, with the piano playing at the bottom there. I'm just going to turn this down a bit because it's really grating. Let's turn that down a little bit. And you can see there's a scrolling message across the top of the screen which tells you a little bit of information about what the game's about. Mastertronic presents Fly Spy, a fabulously cheap $1.99 giveaway game written by Richard Applin, as mentioned earlier, and a bit of other information. And basically there's a high score table as well, and then you press fire to start the game and the music fades out. Thankfully it doesn't go on during the game, and you get this rather interesting particle effect. The particles all join together eventually to form your little helicopter. And there we go, we're into the game. So I thought it was going to be a flick screen adventure, but it turns out it's actually more, well, it's a scrolling screen adventure. So you control the helicopter as you might expect, and it's kind of flick screen but kind of scrolling as well. It does not just obviously moving from one screen to another. So pushing up makes the helicopter rise up and then it'll hover. Pushing down will make it eventually go down. Left and right move you left and right. And fire is an action button, and you determine which action you're going to do by pressing the number keys from 1 to 7. So I'm currently on use, as it says in the status bar there. You can also do pick up, drop, clock, pause, suicide, which is basically where you kill yourself if you've got into a place you can't get out of, and help. So first thing I'm going to do, you can pick up to 4 items. So the first thing I'm going to do is pick up that fuel. As you can see, 4 items available in your inventory which you go through by pressing the space bar. I'm not going to use that at the moment. So the idea of the game, you're supposed to be inside some kind of supercomputer, but to me it just looks like a sort of underground labyrinth. There's various things around. There's teleporters, as you can see there. We'll get to them later. There's little things shooting which you can't shoot back at. The first thing you've got to do is try and get the laser. Now the laser's in this little box down here, but currently not accessible. So there's a couple of levers you have to throw, and you throw them just by landing on them. So there's one here, which I'm about to land on top. You hear a little noise goes and the lever's moved across. As you can see, there's some helpful messages around the screen as well. That one there says don't waste the laser. That'll become clear as to why it says that in a few moments. So you move around the landscape, try not to get shot. That's another lever thrown, and ultimately I'm trying to get through this door, which at the moment I can't get through. So I'm going to go back now and get the laser. Control's a bit annoying at times. Sometimes you go too fast, sometimes not fast enough, and it would be easier if just up went up and down went down rather than this sort of hovering effect that you can do. But now I'm going to go and get the laser. So fire will pick that up, and as you can see I've got the laser. And what shows when you've got the laser is you've got a number of shots available, and I've only got one shot at the moment. So as it said, don't waste the laser. I've only got one shot, so I need to go back and use the laser to shoot that wall. If I shoot and fire that one shot before I shoot this wall, basically I'm screwed and can't get any further in the game, which is not very good, but that's the way these games were at times. You sometimes have to learn just by trial and error. So if I switch the action to use instead of pick up and press fire, I shoot the door away, and that's the first little puzzle solved. Also, you can see there's a code there for station A, which is EGGZYY, I think that is. That'll come in useful later. You should probably write that down, but I think I can remember that, EGGZYY. So what that allows me to do now is get through this gap. There's various places that you can land which will store your position so you don't get thrown back to the beginning when you lose a life. Rather colourful. And now if I die, I'll return to that position rather than the beginning of the level. So there's another thing to pick up here, and that is ammo, which I can immediately use, which stocks up the laser now with 100 shots, which I'll need to use later on. As you can see, I've nearly run out of fuel, so I can go to fuel and use that. This is fuel, by the way, and the fuel gauge fills up. The other one is shield, which gets depleted when you run into things that kill you, and they can be replenished by batteries as well, which will be found at some point. So just have a little bit of a fly around this landscape. There's quite a nice sound of the helicopter, and otherwise just a few sort of bleeping sounds and shots and things like that. And graphics are, as befits the Amstrad, pretty nice and colourful. And scrolling from one section to another is pretty nice. It's a pretty nicely put together game, to be honest. There's some very clever effects in use, in fact. So I'm just going to use this laser again to blow that door out. And if I fly over here, there's also a battery which I can pick up if I'm quick. No, I've died before I could pick up the battery, but that would have replenished my shields. So as I mentioned, you go back to the point that you saved earlier on, the sort of checkpoint. So let's try this again now. So what I'm needing is, I'm aiming to get to this teleport, so I do need a teleport key as well. There is quite a bit of backtracking required in the game, which can be a little bit irritating. Again, little notes there saying things that you should try and avoid for the time being. We pick up that tele key. Just remind myself of that code, EGGZYY. This is the thing I was about to try and pick up, which was the battery. That replenishes the shields, which I'll need to do at some point, no doubt. So, EGGZYY is the teleport key. We'll get to teleport in a moment. First of all, I'm going to pick up these air tanks as well. That allows me to fly underwater. Quite how you fly a helicopter underwater, I'm not sure. But I'll grab them anyway. So then I'm going to use the teleport key. So, just go back to the tele key and use. And it asks me to enter my destination station code. So it's EGGZYY. Y. This will take me back to the teleporter at the beginning of the game, which is the only code I've got at the moment. But oh, wrong code. Maybe they weren't Ys then. Interesting. Let's try that again. I'm sure it was EGG. Ah, it wasn't a Y, it must have been a T. EGG Z T T. There we go. So it's the teleporting starts, but in order to teleport, you've got to complete a little mini game, and this should be quite familiar to retro gamers amongst you. It's basically a pretty reasonable interpretation of Centipede. So you have to, in order to successfully teleport, you've got to wipe out these centipedes coming down the screen before the time runs out and before they reach the bottom actually. So it's a pretty simple version of Centipede, but rather unexpected and quite a cool little addition to the game. So you have to get them, and then you get a time bonus as well, and then they come back again and you have to do the same thing again. However, if you fail this time, I believe you do still manage to teleport. Just the one left to get. Got it. So lots of bonus points there for the time bonus, and in the end you get teleported back to the beginning of the stage and you move on to the next puzzle. So let's just pick up that other teleport key. I'm probably going to need that at some point, and move on. So you may recall I picked up some oxygen, which I'm now going to use to fly through this section of water here and get to this, which is a bomb. So fly down here. Nothing across there at the moment. So we're going to fly up there, switch to... Oh, at the moment I've got too much stuff actually. So I'm going to need to drop something. A bit annoying that I've left that. Let's just go back, in fact. Drop this somewhere where I don't have to go back through the water. So at the moment I've got no use for the battery, so I'm just going to drop that there for now. Oh, it wouldn't let me drop it there for some reason. There we go, battery drop there, near to my checkpoint, so if I do die, at least I can pick it up again really easily. Oh, forgot to switch back to the oxygen. If you don't switch to it, it doesn't use it and you start to lose your shield. So the idea here is I'm going to pick up this bomb, and the reason... Oh, I forgot to switch to the blooming oxygen again. Annoying. Now I've got a problem that I can't take off because the bomb's quite heavy, so I need to drop something else. So there's a bit of trial and error in the game. I don't need the oxygen at the moment, so let's drop that. There we go, now I can fly. So what I was trying to do is I'm going to place the bomb by this, which will allow me to get more air, and also flick another lever which will give me the code to one of the other teleporters eventually. So first thing I need to do, the bomb, you can arm it to last for as long as you like. Oh, I've dropped it, I didn't mean that, whoops, slight problem there. Let's get the bomb again. I go to use the bomb. So I'm going to stick the bomb, no, first of all I'm going to activate the bomb. As you can see, I can set the countdown timer for as long as I like, so 25 seconds should be enough. I'm then going to drop the bomb by this door and wait. Probably didn't really need 25 seconds. Bit tedious now. I think 15 seconds would have been plenty. But there goes the bomb. As you can see, it's blown through that door rather handily. So I can now go in there and pick up the oxygen, and more importantly, flick the switch, which allows me to access more parts of the game. So I'm going to have to go back to the teleporter, but first I need the code for the extra teleporter I need to get to. and that can be found. Oops, forgot about the oxygen again there. As you can see, flicking that switch revealed that there's another code here. The code for station C is YFA something something something. I can find out what the rest of it is by going back through sections I've already been through. As I said, lots of backtracking. Quickly get through here. So it's YFA VUC, I think that is. So once again, go through the teleporter. And use the... Actually, I'm going to use the battery first because I'm running out of shields. So quickly use the battery. Restores the shields, as you can see there. And then I'm going to go to the tele key, use that. Enter destination code, and I've gone and forgotten it actually. YUV something. Luckily I can use the key again. YFA VUC, nowhere near. YFA VUC. Ordinarily I would think if you're playing this game seriously, you need to write the codes down. The codes do change from one game to the next, so you must write them down each time, otherwise they won't work. And I've gone and forgotten it again while I'm talking. Idiot. YFA VUC. Stop distracting myself. I've lost the Y. Y F A V U C. There we go, I'm now teleporting to station C. And once again you get the mini game. Exactly the same as before. I was kind of hoping it might be a different kind of arcade game clone like Space Invaders or something like that, but it appears to be Centipede every time. This is kind of fun, but ultimately a bit annoying because it's just delaying you playing the game. So I've now teleported to teleporter C, and I've got another checkpoint there which I'm going to use because my fuel's nearly run out. Once my fuel's run out, I think I'm going to have to blow myself up. So once again, there's things to do around here. You can, for example, no, my fuel's gone now and I'm stuck. So basically I'm going to have to blow myself up. So I switch to suicide mode, blow myself up. Nice clever little technical trick making the screen shake about there. So with the laser I can blow through another gate, and there's another switch to flick there. And again, it's just more exploration. Some more fuel to be picked up there, for example. Switch to the oxygen to go and get that. And this is it. I've not gone much further in the game so far. It's fair to say it's quite a big game, lots of exploration required. And I've only got one life left, so probably not going to last much longer. But the next step of the game is to go and get another bomb, go back through the teleporter to teleporter C, and blow up another area. So probably not going to be able to manage that. So I'll sum up at this point and say, yeah, it's quite a nice little game. Pretty challenging, but you kind of make a little bit of extra progress every time you play, which makes it quite encouraging to continue playing through. And plenty of exploration required. As you can see, there's a very long drop there. Not quite sure what that is at the side there. But here it gets more convoluted. There's another teleporter, which I can't pick up at the moment. There's another bomb. But basically somehow I've got to find my way. Once I've dropped down there I can't get back out, so somehow I've got to find my way through that gap, use that teleporter to get to another place. You can see it gets more and more convoluted as time progresses. It's fair to say there's plenty to keep you occupied if you're persistent enough to work your way through it, but I'm not sure 5 lives is ever going to be enough to make progress through the game. And I think that's my last life. Yeah, so I did get my name in. Oh, but I can't spell. But in summary, it's a nice game, nicely presented, pretty challenging, but sort of your progress is rewarded each time, your persistence is rewarded. Yeah, it would have been a nice game to see on the Commodore 64. Definitely you're going to get your $1.99 money's worth. It's nicely programmed as well with some clever technical tricks, very colourful. The only thing really letting it down is this horrendous music. So we'll leave it at that. We're going to take a look at another Amstrad game next, a little bit of a later release called Reveal, but after 18 minutes gameplay, I think that's enough of that one.
If you only knew the power of the dark side.
2, 1, 0.